Hiya, folks. One of the things that's fascinated me about sitting on this sofa the last couple of days is discovering new bits of gear or new bits of technology, which I didn't think we need to be knowing about. We run a small production company, I'm sure many of you do. I'm with Sam from Axel, and they make a media management platform. What's interesting is I used to think I was just a small production company. We've got 30 terabytes of drives, daisy chained together, and my biggest headache is, where is the stuff? This is where you can help, right? I'm not alone.
You're preaching to the choir. So thanks for having me on, and we're actually delighted to be here. We're here at BVE and stand M24 with Nexan. They're one of our storage partners. And what our company does, we're based in the US, but we do what we call radically simple media management. So we've taken some of the concepts of high-end systems, which typically have cost tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds, and we brought it down to a level where a small production team, either on location or in post-production, can manage what they have, search it, catalog it, tag it, and then prepare it for editing. So it's a suite, it runs through a browser, so you can use laptops, iPads, even mobile phones to connect to it. And it gives access not only to the people who are right there in the edit bays, but also to the producers, to the assistants, and even to your external clients.
So talk to me through an example workflow. So production finishes, let's say it's a corporate video production, we come back to the office, we're loading our footage into a server. At what point do we engage with Axel?
So the nice part is Axel kind of works in the background. So as you're putting your media on your server, Axel is watching. This is a big difference from a traditional media management system where there's like a check-in process and you have to sort of do something. Axel just watches, and as new media shows up, it makes a low-resolution version of each clip. It also gathers all the metadata, like the clip, the duration, the codec, the bit rate, all those issues, frame rate, things like that. Puts those in there with the file itself and the low-res proxy. And then it provides that out through a browser interface so that almost immediately, as soon as it's generated the proxy, you can scrub through the media even though you may not be at an editing station. So it happens essentially without any intervention.
And is this a heavily metadata-driven system? Does someone have to sit there and add the metadata to make it all work?
So that's one of the potential misunderstandings about media management, or MAM as it was traditionally called, MAM. A lot of times it was driven by people like librarians who have an obsession with metadata, and that's great, but the average production person doesn't actually have time for that. So we've designed our system so that it's useful with or without the extra metadata. You can have custom metadata fields, but you might only want to have a half dozen of them, whereas like the DPP says you have to have 72. Now, 72 is great if you want to put something on air in the UK. I understand why you need 72 metadata fields, but when you come back from this shoot, you're not going to want to fill out 72 metadata fields for every clip that you shot. So Axel doesn't require you to do anything. It's optional, and you can add more data as you go.
So one of the things I've been discovering at the show, a lot of the technological providers have been really focusing on simplification of these once complex tasks. Tell me some of the other things that this does. I mean, you've got some footage on an iPad here. Talk us through this.
Yeah. So we focus on making this experience radically simple. At my former employer, I was with Avid for 5 years, and I was the product manager for Interplay, which is actually a very powerful system used at the BBC, used at NBC in the States, a lot of the world's top broadcasters. But probably 60% of what that system delivers can be done in much simpler ways. And that's really what we've striven to do at Axel, is how do we make this simple enough that someone could just walk up, open a browser, and get access. So I think you're right on with the simplicity theme. It's the only way that we're going to get out to this wider market of churches, corporations, universities, sports teams. We've got some of the top sports teams in the UK as customers. And the reason they're using it is they're busy shooting sports. They can't spend a week to learn a complex system. What we've just sort of started talking about, and we'll be shipping at NAB in a couple of months, is a rough cut editor for the iPad.
Turn this around here,
and essentially what this lets you do is bring your footage from your shared storage to the iPad in proxy form. So it's using H.264 proxies, and then you can edit on the iPad in low resolution, Then when you're done, you can save it back to the server, and the sequence will actually apply to the high-res media, at which point you can push it to the air or web.
Your media is sitting on your server, but Axel's providing a low-res proxy from the cloud.
Exactly.
So you can basically be sitting on a train as long as you've got 3 or 4G and actually working. So your story producers, for example, could be sub-assembling clips.
It's even a bit better than that. This can work in disconnected mode. So you get all the proxy media, then you hop on a plane, you've got 2 or 3 hours, you can do some edits, you get off the plane, you can upload the edits. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And the other thing is it's extremely affordable. I mean, stuff that is used to cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you're talking about 2 seats for 500 or 600 euros.
That's right, and you can do a complete system, say a 5-seat system with the iPad editor, and even the hardware to run it on for well under 10,000 pounds.
So you mentioned churches, broadcasters, but also I run a very small production company, small, medium. It's striking me that we're getting to a point where we're getting so much data that it's becoming a headache. So this really is something that we could get into at a very basic level.
Thank you, yeah,
and keep expanding.
No, it's a very typical story for us that our customers are 3-person teams, 5-person teams, and it's not like those kinds of groups have had an alternative. In the past, they would either use individual disk drives or they'd get some kind of shared storage, but the minute you have shared storage, your searching options are limited, and you have to be physically connected to that storage to see what's there. You've got to open the high-res files. So by making a proxy version and by extending the search capabilities, we really make it something that a lot of people would be interested in.
Well, this, I think, is simply radically simple. I mean, it does what it says in the tin. So remind us of your booth number.
Yes, we're in M24, which is the Nexan booth. They do some very powerful storage systems that work with this. And our URL is axlevideo, axlevideo.com.
Great stuff. Well, obviously, come by the stand here at P18 for, obviously, you can drop your business card in the tub for winning one of 3 Blackmagic pocket cameras, and these guys are literally just behind us.
Yeah,
so
not too far.
Why don't you just drop by? And this is really, really brilliant. If you're doing anything with production, seriously suggest you check it out. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.